What is going on, everybody? Royal Rapids here, and for the first time on this channel, we're going to be doing a versus solo run, as today we're going to see which Gen 3 Mythical is better for a solo run of Pokemon Fire Red, that being the Steel Psychic Type Jirachi or the Mono Psychic Type Deoxys. Now, I feel that Jirachi kind of has an early advantage here, as it has much more even base stats, that being 100 across the board, which is kind of par for the course for Mythicals in the first three generations, with Mew and Celebi sharing the same base stat distribution. Overall, though, we'll see how it goes. I picked Charmander for my rival, as obviously his fire attacks are super effective into our steel type, and without further ado, let's see how we do against the first gym leader, Brock. As you can see, now we have a real-time counter, and with a little under 4.5 minutes on the clock, we're taking on the first gym leader of the game. Now, Brock's rock types have terrible special defense, and our base 100 special attack, boosted by the rash nature, is easily able to do huge damage into the Geodude and the Onix with Stab Confusion, getting us an easy, painless first Kanto Gym badge with about 4:40 on the clock. Super fast here from Jirachi, and without further ado, let's get into its counterpart, the Mono Psychic Type Deoxys. Now, in Pokemon Fire Red, you have no choice but to use Deoxys attack, and as you can see, it has super min-maxed base stats. 50 HP, 180 attack, a measly 20 defense and special defense, obviously 180 special attack, and 150 speed. So Deoxys basically has to either outspeed and one-shot something, or it'll be one-shot itself. And with an access to an absolutely horrendous move pool in the early game, with Wrap and Nightshade being the only attacking moves available before Brock, this is going to be an absolute doozy here early. I like to give my starter to replace Charmander to give the rival the Squirtle team, because his Blastoise is pretty defensively bulky and also gets access to Bite in the late game. A pretty decent super effective attack into my 20 base special defense. Here in the first fight, as you can see, Wrap and Nightshade aren't really doing anything. They're really not utilizing my base 180 attack stat whatsoever, as Nightshade does damage based on level, and Wrap has like 15 power. So as you can see, we barely scrape by the rival's Squirtle, and this early game is not going to be fun whatsoever where we can get some moves. Unfortunately for us, Weedles in the forest do pretty solid damage with Poison Sting into our base 20 defense, and if we get Poison, we just don't have the damage with Wrap and Nightshade to be able to take out these early game bugs. As you can see, if we're struggling with early game bugs, even when they spam Slingshot, we still can't take them out. How do you think we're going to be taking on Brock's rock types with our best attacking move being a base 15 power normal type attack? Against another bug catcher, it's the same deal. We get Poison from the first Weedle, and just Poison Sting and Poison damage is too much. We pick up 2 resets in Viridian Forest. The final bug catcher has a level 9 Weedle, and things are getting real close here, but thankfully, with only 6 HP remaining, we take out the final bug catcher and earn the right to head to Pewter City. Nearing almost 10 minutes on the clock, we're taking on Brock's gym, and things get real close here as Sandshrew leads us with 3 HP. And after taking on almost every single mandatory trainer, the slow growth rate leads us with only level 10, meaning we're forced to go back and take on the optional rival battle on Route 22. He leads with a Pidgey, and as you can see, we're not doing anything with Wrap. You wouldn't think we had a base 180 attack stat with how weak Wrap is. The residual damage is at least kind of helping, but it's really not particularly inspiring at this point. Pidgey leaves us with our accuracy lowered and only 8 HP, meaning we miss a Nightshade, and a couple tackles from Squirtle do us in, giving us our third reset. Our second matchup goes a little bit better, as we don't get our accuracy lowered at least this time, and we're able to eventually take out the Pidgey with only 7 HP remaining. Squirtle comes in here, and if it hits like one attack, we're pretty much able to go down. Thankfully, we do tank one tackle, and it misses the second one, allowing a few Nightshades to get the KO and earn us the right to take on Brock with almost 13 minutes on the clock. We are massively lacking behind Jirachi at this point. I like to go for a Wrap on Geodude here to try to get some residual damage into its high defense, and thankfully the AI loves to spam Defense Curl for some reason, allowing us to get past the Geodude with 28 HP remaining. Now, while Onix has the attack stat of like a wet paper bag, like 45 or something, Rock Tomb is still doing huge damage, and we eventually get taken down. Thankfully, on the second attempt, Geodude actually doesn't do any damage to us, allowing us to take it out with 3 Nightshades, bringing in the Onix. And if Onix can just miss a few Rock Tombs here, we should be good. It hits 2 in a row, but thankfully misses the third, and one more Nightshade gets us the first badge with almost 14 minutes on the clock. An absolutely brutal opening split for Deoxys. Now, as you can see here, Jirachi is clearing Mount Moon, just passing 8 minutes on the clock as we defeat the final trainer, pick up the Helix Fossil, and head on towards Cerulean City to take on the second gym leader, that being the Water-type trainer Misty, just short of 9 minutes on the clock. Without further ado, she sends out her trusty Staryu at level 18, and we're even 3 levels under it. Get a little bit of weird slowdown here, which is kind of happening during the Jirachi run, unfortunately, but thankfully, we're able to take out the Starfish with 2 Confusions. Now, unfortunately for us, we get confused by a Water Pulse. Confusion does pitiful damage, even with a crit, and a Swift from Starmie does us in, giving us our first reset. I'd like to try Misty again here as we near 9.5 minutes on the clock, and the Staryu really isn't that much of a big deal, dealing only 15 hit points of damage, but we don't have really any good damage into Starmie. and neither Swift or Confusion are doing anything, handing us our second reset against the Water Trainer. I elect to take on rival number 2 outside Nugget Bridge and take out Pidgeotto without much trouble. Brings in Charmander, who just goes for Growl. Rattata gets confused, hits itself in Confusion, and takes itself out. And Abra is free as it has no attacking moves, allowing us to plow past rival number 2. Now, at the absolutely busted level of 20, we get access to the 90 base power Stab Psychic, which is going to make a lot of the fights here in this early game absolutely trivial. After freeing Bill from his Pokemon prison and getting the SS ticket, we attempt Misty again, this time at level 21, which puts us more on par with her Pokemon, exactly on par with her Starmie. I set up a Wish to try to get a little bit more health. Unfortunately, the Wish wasn't really as impactful as I thought it would be early in this run. Thankfully, though, even though Psychic's resisted, its base 90 power stab damage is doing huge damage into the Starmie. A critical hit almost takes it down, and although Misty does heal, eventually we're going to take out the Starfish since we outspeed. It gets stuck in a recover loop, but eventually, after a long war of attrition, a not very effective Psychic gets the job done, growing us to level 22, and completing our second split. Deoxys here is having a lot of trouble in Mount Moon, barely escaping the final Super Nerd with 5 HP, and as you see, we're nearing 19 minutes on the clock, so we are having a massive deficit against Jirachi here in the early game. Just like that Cerulean City, we can hit up the Move Tutor for Mega Punch, having a slightly more reliable damage, but unfortunately for us, neither Wrap, Mega Punch, or Rock Tomb have 100% accuracy, and if we're missing attacks, that means we're taking hits, and if you know anything about Deoxys, it's base 20, and both its defenses means that we really can't take anything. We're able to take out Pidgeot after sustaining a little bit of damage here, but unfortunately Rattata does pretty huge damage with Quick Attack. Can't believe I'm saying that, and us missing a Mega Punch leaves us with only 5 HP, meaning Squirtle can come in and finish the job with a Water Gun. Attempt number 2 versus the rival brings us over 20 minutes on the clock without even getting our second badge yet. Things are going very poorly. Thankfully, Rock Tomb gets the damage range here, allowing us to one-shot the Pidgeotto, leading into Rattata. We get an even better damage range there, one-shotting the Rat, bringing in Squirtle. Unfortunately, we do miss twice as Squirtle sets up the +2 defense, but a critical hit evens the luck out and takes down the Turtle with one more Mega Punch, allowing us to get the free KO on Abra and take on Nugget Bridge. Now, thankfully, on Nugget Bridge, we level up to level 20 and learn our first 100% accurate move, the special Dark move Pursuit, and also we get our first physical 100% accurate move, the base 70 power normal type Secret Power. You know things are bad when you're excited about Secret Power and Pursuit on your moveset. Now, the one good thing about Pursuit, though, is it is super effective into Misty's Starmie. Unfortunately, I go for Mega Punch for some reason and miss on the Staryu, but go unpunished as Secret Power one-shots after a Harden. Pursuit does over half, but a critical hit Water Pulse does us in one hit. As you can see, Deoxys, no margin for error whatsoever. Second time's the charm, though. Obviously, Secret Power still one-shots the Staryu. Against Starmie, you go for Pursuit. Water Pulse does not crit or confuse. And after Misty heals, a couple more Pursuits get the job done, getting us a relatively painless second gym badge with a monster 26 minutes on the clock. As you can see, Jirachi only passes 18 minutes here, all the way on the SS Sand, as we are nearing the completion of our third split, well ahead of Deoxys at the end of its second split. The rival here on the SS Sand isn't that much of a problem, as Rash Nature boosted base 90 Psychic is doing huge damage into all his Pokemon, as we switch to Swift, which one-shots the physically frail Kadabra, grows us to level 24, and earns us the right to take on the third gym leader, the Electric-type user Lieutenant Surge. Now, at least here on the Red and Blue and Fire and Leaf Green games, he has more than one Pokemon, but Psychic is still doing pretty huge damage into his unevolved Pikachu and Voltorb. In comes Raichu, and it's likely to survive a hit, which it does, but just sets up double team, so I can go for the perfect accuracy Swift into his Raichu, and thankfully it looks like it's a 2-hit, which it is, allowing us to complete our third split just short of 21 minutes. Now, Deoxys is here on the SS and a whole 7 minutes behind Jirachi at the end of its third split. Fortunately for us, although Pidgeotto does pretty huge damage, with Quick Attack we can do even huger damage with our Rock Tomb, allowing us to one-shot it. Wartortle goes down in 2 hits as it just wastes time going for Withdraw. We send his Eradicate to the grave with a single Secret Power, and Kadabra follows suit, getting us a relatively easy fight over our rival number 3 here. Thankfully, in Surge's gym, as we fight the one mandatory trainer, we finally get access to Sab Psychic, coming off our base 180 special attack. This should be our bread and butter for the rest of the playthrough. And here against Surge, finally we can breathe a sigh of relief as Psychic one-shots both Voltorb and Pikachu. Raichu survived one from Jirachi, but it did not from Deoxys, as our base 180 special attack finally comes in handy as we get an A button pressing session against the third gym leader Surge. And now it's time for Jirachi to take on Erica. Jirachi at its 4th split after Rock Tunnel is ahead of Deoxys at the end of its 3rd split. Things are not looking good for the mono Psychic type. And speaking of Psychic, using Psychic is able to easily polish off all 3 of Erica's grass types, getting us an easy, painless 4th Kanto gym badge. Erica's a joke if you have good Psychic special damage. Sticking with Jirachi here, because that split was so short, I'd like to head down to the Rocket Game Corner and take on Giovanni. But as you can see, his Pokemon mostly kind of suck. Kangaskhan usually does survive at least one hit, as I try to go for a Serene Embrace Confusion play, but thankfully it just sucks and just goes for a Bite, which is 12 damage, allowing a single Swift to polish off the dinosaur-looking thing. Rhyhorn goes down to a quad-effective Water Pulse, and we easily polish off Giovanni, who's always a joke in the Kanto games. Speaking of joke, rival number 4 in Lavender Tower is usually a joke as well. As you can see, Psychic takes out both his first 2 members easily, as Gyarados comes in. Now, Gyarados does have a pretty beefy special defense stat, but just goes for Thrash, which does 7 damage, allowing a Swift to take out the Sea Serpent. I like to not learn Double Edge's Return is just better. Unfortunately, we don't really have anything good for Execute, but it has nothing good for us either, besides Leech Seed, which can get kind of annoying if we don't wake up soon. Reflect and Leech Seed are pretty annoying, but a critical hit Psychic takes out the pile of seeds, earning us the right to head up against Kadabra. Thanks to the Reflect, it actually does survive a Swift. 2 of them at that were disabling our Swift. Things are getting really annoying here, but a Water Pulse gets the job done, and that was far harder than it had to be. Against the Marowak at the top of the tower, I like to show this for fun, and hey, a critical hit Psychic sends it right back to the grave, completing Lavender Tower and earning us the right to head to Silph Company. Now this fight is one of the harder fights in the game, especially if you take it on under-leveled. Psychic is going to be a 2-shot on Pidgeot here, who does peanuts of damage with Ring Attack before it goes down. But the hard hitter comes in next, and that is the fully evolved Fire and Flying type Charizard. We get the Spadef drop as it goes for Scary Face, which now allows it to outspeed, and it easily polishes us off with a super effective Flamethrower. Same thing plays out here. I try to go for the Water Pulse Confusion, and I don't get it, so I decide, hey, whatever. We're going to get more levels. Head through Cycling Road, head up to Fuchsia City, and decide to take on the Safari Zone here, and I'll place your bets in the comments. Will I get through this in one go? Obviously, yes, I will. I'm the GOAT. No one's better at the Safari Zone than me. And without further ado, we can head, take on all the trainers in Koga's gym, and fight the Poison-type gym leader himself to try to complete our 5th split. Now, I go for Secret Power on the Coughing, which is actually a pretty terrible mistake. It lowers my accuracy twice with Smokescreen, meaning that even though we can pretty easily one-shot most of his Pokemon with Stab Psychic, now we're going to be missing a bunch, and the chance that we could just run out of power points. We're not in really any danger of taking damage here as his Poison-type attacks, obviously we take no damage from, with us being a Steel-type. We take this fight super slow, and in a game where I'm trying to like time myself and get the best time possible, this is just getting really annoying. I like to not learn Future Sight because it sucks, and thankfully we do end up hitting Psychics into both the Coughing and the Wheezing. That wastes a bunch of time, but thankfully we're out of that 5th split with 45 minutes on the clock. Deoxys faints against a random Slowpoke in a Rock Tunnel, which shows you how bad this thing's defense is. And in Erica's gym, I do elect to replace Rock Tomb with Super Power, getting us a slightly better physical coverage move. And fortunately for us, though, I don't think this gym fight is going to be difficult whatsoever. Same deal as Jirachi, Psychic on Victory Bell. In comes Tangela, who's not weak to it, but has really bad special defense, goes down in one hit. And last but not least, Vileplume, weak to Psychic, goes down in one hit, getting us a 4th split with about 38 minutes on the clock. Now in the Rocket Hideout, it's time to take on Giovanni, but, you know, same thing as Jirachi. We have good special damage, and his team kind of sucks. I'm a little worried about the Kangaskhan. But the thing usually has terrible move selection. It actually does go for a Bite, but its special attack is so bad it doesn't KO us, even with a minus special defense nature, 20 base special defense. Regardless, we take out Rhyhorn and get an easy fight over Clownovani, leading into the rival number 4 fight here in Lavender Tower. Like I said, this fight usually isn't hard, but it actually was kind of annoying with Jirachi. Thankfully, Deoxys with Stab Psychic is doing huge damage into all his Pokemon. Pursuit even one-shots the Growlithe. In comes Execute, goes down to a single Pursuit, leaving behind just the final Kadabra. But super effective Pursuit gets the one hit, getting us a damageless sweep and earning us the right to take on the Ghost Marowak at the top of the tower. Obviously, Psychic one-shots it, and we're out of the Lavender Tower with about 45 minutes on the clock. We're still behind Jirachi, but by the looks of things, we're at least kind of catching up. Now, I like to do some training here on Cycling Road against the plentiful Poison and Fighting types. And before I head into the Safari Zone, I'll place your bets below. Will I get through this in one go, or will I not, like I used to in my older runs, wasting a ton of time here? Nah, you know I'm the GOAT now. I'm easily able to get through this in one try, getting the Gold Teeth, the TM for Double Team, and the HM for Surf. Now, here in Koga's gym, this should be easy, but I accidentally misclicked and went for Super Power on an Arbok, giving it the chance to glare me. And after a couple screeches, if we don't get a series of one-hits, we're obviously going to get KO'd. I look not to learn Zap Cannon, as that move low-key sucks, and we have access to both Shockwave and Thunderbolt by TM. And as you can see, Sandslash takes us out with a few Poison Stings. That's how you know you're bad and you get KO'd by a Poison Sting this late in the game. Next up is Koga. We're about 8 minutes behind Jirachi here, but as long as I don't misclick, which I don't, this should just be an A button pressing session. One shot on Coughing, one shot on Muck. In comes the second Coughing, obviously goes down in one hit. Last but not least, Wheezing. Goodbye. And that is a 5th split with 53 minutes on the clock. We're still behind Jirachi, but at least making a little bit of ground by the looks of things. And now it is time for Jirachi with about 45 minutes on the clock to get a second attempt against the rival here in Silph Co. Now at level 40, we have about a 3-level advantage from where we were before. As I'm able to take out the Pidgeot, only sustaining about 7 hit points of damage in the process. Charizard comes in, and I go for a Water Pulse Confusion. It goes for a Scary Face, but it still outspeeds. We manage to survive, which means if we can actually get a series of one-hits for the rest of the fight, we might actually be able to get out of this. Unfortunately for us though, Charizard actually hangs on from a Water Pulse, doesn't hit itself in confusion, and we go down from one more Flamethrower. I saw a path to victory here, so I decided to just try it again. If we can get a better damage range, or, you know, get a special defense drop or something, maybe we'd be able to get out of here unscathed. Unfortunately, we hang on with only 18 HP before taking it down with a second Psychic. Gyarados comes in here and actually goes for the resisted bite to hit up a Wish, but unfortunately the second bite just does too much damage, and we unfortunately go down to the Sea Serpent. I grind on some more trainers here in Silph, getting up to the next damage rounding range at level 43, seeing if that'll help. We still can't one-shot the Pidgeot, but I can set up Wish, meaning that effectively we will one-shot the Pidgeot, as Wish will recover us to full HP as the Charizard comes in. Now, at a higher level, can we tank a Flamethrower with higher HP? We'll see. I go for Secret Power to get the Paralysis, meaning Scary Face. Doesn't actually matter as we still outspeed, allowing us to take it out with full health remaining. We're at -2 speed from both Scary Faces, but Gyarados just wastes time going for Leer and Dragon Rage, allowing us to two-shot it with Psychic. Next up is going to bring in Execute, and obviously this pile of seeds is going to be annoying as it resists our stab, but thankfully a critical hit Secret Power gets the job done, leaving just Alakazam, who sucks in this fight. It has like absolutely no damage outside of Future Sight, I'm pretty sure. And a Secret Power Psychic combo downs the best fully evolved Psychic type here in Generation 1, even though we're in Generation 3, but you know what I mean. Allowing us right to take on Giovanni. Now Giovanni, absolute clown as per usual. Psychic and Secret Power easily get the job done, and we have defeated the Rocket subplot of Kanto with about 54 minutes on the clock. Now split number 6 is nearing its end as we take on the Psychic type trainer Sabrina. Now, even though we have a minus special defense nature, we do quad resist Psychic with both Steel and Psychic resisting her stab attacks. And with pretty solid physical damage with Secret Power and solid special damage with Psychic for her Venomoth, we should be pretty easily able to take out all of her members without much issue. Sets up Barrier with Mr. Mime and waste time going for full heals after we get Serene Grace flinches. With Secret Power, by flinches I mean Paralysis, why can't I talk? The world may never know. This fight is kind of boring though, and eventually we finally take out the Alakazam, completing our 5th split with a little over 55 minutes on the clock. Now Jirachi's been going super smoothly, which I cannot say about its counterpart, as we're going to head back to Deoxys and see how its 6th split goes. Here in Silph Co, I end up just dying to a Thunder Shock on a level 25 Magneton, which shows you how great the defenses are on this thing, especially with the rash nature. Now, I do like to try rival number 5 here in Silph, but I can't imagine this fight would go super well at level 43. Same level as Jirachi, but our typing just lends us to just not as good of defenses, obviously. Blastoise wastes time going for Protect, and Psychic does not get the one-shot, meaning Bite almost gets the KO. We do hang on. If we can get one hits the rest of the fight, which is technically possible, we could actually get through this first try. Execute and Growlithe both oblige, but it's all up to the Alakazam here. And hey, Pursuit, super effective, one shot. And hey, we actually managed to get a first try victory over rival number 5. Maybe things are actually starting to turn in Deoxys' favor. It's actually kind of catching up with Jirachi. At 59 minutes on the clock, it's time to take on the 6th gym leader, the Psychic type user Sabrina. Now, Secret Power and Pursuit would both do pretty good damage into our Pokemon. I do elect to go for the Dark type move, as we do have base 180 special attack, obviously, which is the same as our physical attack, and also, she is weak to Psychic. We do have Psychic for her Poison type Venomoth, which I have no idea why they didn't replace in the remakes. Game Freak is really stupid with remakes. That's a story for another day. Leave a comment below if you want to see me make videos hating on Pokemon remakes, because they refuse to make changes when they obviously should. After Mr. Mime goes down, though, I go for Pursuit on Alakazam, who does hang on, and leaves us with 2 HP after a Psychic, but since we outspeed, one more Pursuit gets the job done, and Deoxys clears Sabrina with about 59 minutes. Speaking of 59 minutes, Jirachi's at about that time taking on Blaine. Psychic one-shots the Growlithe, but if we don't one-shot any of his Pokemon, we're likely going to get taken out with a super effective Fire Blast. We can take out his first 3 with Psychic. Actually, I'm lying. We can't take out Rapidash, as it hangs on from a Psychic and one-shots us with a critical hit Fire Blast. Now, as the time ticks over an hour on the clock, I'd like to try this fight again to see how it goes. Obviously, both Growlithe and Ponyta will be one-hits with Psychic, and I don't know if we're going to survive a non-critical hit from Rapidash. Only one way to find out. Let's try it again. Obviously, both Growlithe and Ponyta oblige. Rapidash does not go down, but it misses a Fire Blast. 85 accuracy will do that to ya. And a few more Psychics and Water Pulses will eventually take on the oversized horse, allowing us to take on his final Pokemon, that being the dog Arcanine. Now, Arcanine can be pretty annoying, but all we need to do is just miss a Fire Blast or not KO. Hits Fire Blast, we hang on, and one more Psychic takes out the dog, completing our second split with about an hour and 1 minute on the clock. That was a lot more painless than I thought, and oh yeah, here's this guy. Anyways, guys, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. You know, I'd love to make more videos like this, and if you guys like it, that would be amazing. Now that this guy's out of the way, let's head back to Deoxys. Now, a little south of Lavender Town, I like to pick up the TM for Return. Having a base 102 power normal move coming off our monster attack stat should be pretty good. Without further ado, with about an hour and 3 minutes on the clock, let's take on Blaine. We're low-key catching up to Jirachi here, so let's see if we can have a strong finish and make things competitive. Psychic one-shots Growlithe, Arcanine comes in, and Psychic does not get the KO as Bite and Retaliation does. Now, I'm going to lose a little bit of time here as I like to teach Water Pulse and try this fight again, but spoiler alert, I don't really think this is going to work. Water Pulse's effective power is probably about the same as Psychic, and while yes, we have a chance to confuse, it's probably not best to rely on a 30% chance. Water Pulse is less than Psychic, and obviously Fire Blast polishes off our Mono Psychic Mythical. After taking on all of Blaine's gym trainers and fighting a few trainers in the ocean, we try again, this time at level 48, which puts us over a damage rounding threshold. Obviously, Psychic or Water Pulse will both one-shot Growlithe. As we go for Psychic on Arcanine, and it gets the KO. And if we one-shot Arcanine, I'm pretty sure Rapidash will also be a one-shot, getting us a victory over Blaine and earning us our 7th Kanto Gym Badge. And once again, there's going to be this guy again at the end of the video. You know, that's this dude, whatever his name is. Anyways, please subscribe to the channel. If you like the channel, it would be nice if you could subscribe. That would be amazing. And while we watch this one-hit fest, you know, just put in the comments below what was your favorite part of the run. Would you like to see more solo runs? I appreciate any and all feedback. And anyways, let's get back to the real part of the run as Jirachi takes on rival number 6. You know, the champion preview battle and the end of the regular season here in Pokemon Fire Red. Goes for a useless Feather Dance, which doesn't really matter as I'm mostly using special moves in this run. Charizard comes in, we actually don't even do half with Psychic, and a single Flamethrower leaves us in the red. Since we don't outspeed things to Scary Face, one more polishes us off, and we actually get a loss. Now, I teach Sabrina's TM Calm Mind in the place of Secret Powers. I'm going for a full special move set for the Elite Four anyways. And with Water Pulse, Psychic, Wish, and Secret Power, it's time for Attempt 2 against rival number 6. We're at 9 resets, which is low-key kind of a lot. It's more than any of the Weather Trio had, but those runs were kind of different anyways. I set up 2 Calm Minds on the Pidgeot and just waste time going for Feather Dance as we don't have a single physical attack on our set anymore. And whether we KO or not, either the special attack or the special defense should give us enough to either, you know, survive a Flamethrower or get the one-shot. We survived the Flamethrower with 57 HP, and as long as we can survive the remaining attacks from his Pokemon, we should be pretty good. Psychic takes out the Gyarados, we go to level 50 and don't learn Doom Desire because it's just Steel-type Future Sight, which I already said was a terrible move, especially in Generation 3. Rhyhorn comes in, we still outspeed it even at -2, leaving just 2 Pokemon remaining. Execute comes in. We don't have any good moves for it. I go for a Water Pulse trying to get the confusion, which we get. It hits itself, and one more Water Pulse gets the KO, leaving just Alakazam. Now, I don't think this thing actually has any attacking moves at this point in the run. Psychic leaves it with a Sliver. It disables Psychic. We go for Water Pulse anyways, and we take out the Alakazam, earning us right to head to Indigo Plateau and sell all of our items. Now, I was going a little bit overkill here. You only need 80,000 Pokédollars to be able to purchase Thunderbolt, which I eventually do end up doing, getting TM24, putting it in the place of Wish, and getting us our final moveset of Water Pulse, Psychic, Thunderbolt, and Calm Mind. Now, how will Jirachi do against the Elite Four? I mean, I couldn't imagine it could be too bad. We have Thunderbolt for Lorelei, Psychic for Bruno and Agatha, and Thunderbolt and Psychic for Lance. So without further ado, let's take on the Water and Ice type trainer, that being the first Elite Four member, Lorelei. Now, Lorelei leads with Dugong, which likes to waste time going for Hail and Safeguard, allowing me to set up a free Calm Mind. It does unfortunately go for Surf, but with the Calm Mind boost, we're still in the green, and a single super effective Thunderbolt takes out the Dugong. In comes Cloyster, who loves to waste time going for Protect, but thankfully after one, we just one-shot the poor Special Defense Bivalve with a single Thunderbolt. Even Slowbro goes down in one hit. Another Pokemon, Lapras, doesn't go down in one hit, but just does Peanuts with Surf, allowing a second Thunderbolt to get the KO. And lastly is Jinx. Although it doesn't have particularly great physical defense, we don't have a physical move, and even though we get put to sleep from Lovely Kiss, it really can't do any damage to us, as his best attacking moves are both resisted by us, that being both Ice Punch and Psychic. And just waste time going for Ice Punch. We eventually wake up, and a Water Pulse gets the job done, getting us a relatively easy victory over the first Elite Four member. Next up is Bruno, and yeah, we set up one Calm Mind, and Water Pulse takes out Onix. Next up is the second Onix. Goodbye. Hitmonchan. Goodbye. Hitmonlee. Goodbye. Machamp, pretty decent bulk. Will it survive? No. Goodbye. Easy victory. Next up is Agatha, and it's even easier. Gengar, goodbye. Level 54. Golbat, goodbye. Haunter, goodbye. Gengar, goodbye. Last but not least, Arbok. Intimidate, who cares? Goodbye. Next up is going to be Lance, and we don't actually have any Ice-type damage. It means this fight could actually be somewhat difficult. After Rare Candying up to level 61, using all of our Rare Candies accumulated throughout the run, it is time to take on the Dragon and Flying type trainer, that being the final Elite Four member, Lance. I set up Calm Mind here on the Gyarados, looks to waste time going for Bite and Dragon Rage. I mean that we're still in the green even after getting the +2, and obviously a critical hit +2's quad effective Thunderbolt was able to get the KO. I wonder how much damage that did. Psychic obviously one-shots the unevolved Dragonair as the second one comes in and suffers the same fate, leaving his most scary Pokemon remaining, that being the Dragonite. Psychic doesn't get the one-shot, but just goes for Safeguard, which doesn't do anything, and obviously we get the KO with the second Psychic, leaving just Aerodactyl, who gets fried by a super effective Thunderbolt. beating the Elite Four and earning us the right to take on our rival in the final champion battle. Now, Pidgeot is pretty decent setup fodder here for Jirachi as we resist most of its attacks, but unfortunately we do get hit from Sand Attack, meaning the rest of this fight is going to be kind of a lottery. If we hit our attacks, we'll be golden. If we don't, we might not be golden. We immediately miss a Thunderbolt right off the bat. Thankfully, we hit a second one and get some fried chicken on the menu as Rhydon comes in, and we hit a Water Pulse, getting the KO on the Rock and Ground type. After going to level 62, in comes Charizard, and if we hit our attack, we'll be golden, which we do. I think -2 puts you at like 66% accuracy, so we're getting really lucky here. We miss on the Gyarados, which is fine. It just goes for 40 damage. Dragon Rage allowing us to get the KO, bringing in Alakazam. I miss a Thunderbolt, and this fight kind of gets annoying as we get paralyzed from Synchronize. That's kind of the little bit of bad effect of Serene Grace against its Alakazam, but eventually we take it out, bring in Executor. We have nothing good for this thing, unfortunately, so I like to just go for Psychic as it probably has our best effective power. Hopefully we can get the 2-shot, and even with paralysis and -2 accuracy, we hit our second Psychic, completing the game with 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 7 seconds on the clock. Jirachi was pretty fun to play, and I'll save my final thoughts for the end as we have to finish the game with Deoxys now. Now, rival number 6 here shouldn't be too much of a problem, on paper at least. Psychic gets a critical hit and one-shots his problematic Blastoise, leaving just Rhyhorn. Obviously, he gets one-shot with a quad-effective Water Pulse. Why wouldn't it? After we go to level 51, his unevolved Growlithe comes in, goes down in one hit. I have no idea why he couldn't have Arcanine and Executor in this fight. I mean, I'm not complaining, because he probably wouldn't win at this level against those, but still, kind of weird. Pursuit doesn't one-shot Alakazam, but just wastes time going for Calm Mind, and we get a damageless sweep over rival number 6. Finally, we did something better than Jirachi. Here at the Indigo Plateau, I try to see if Shockwave with our really good special attack stat will be enough into Lorelei, but spoiler alert, I really don't think it's going to be. Psychic has better effective power, and Shockwave, although it has the added benefit of not being able to miss, Lorelei doesn't actually ever lower your accuracy. So even though we get through Dugong with 2 Shockwaves, it's clearly not doing enough damage, and at a moderately decent attack coming off any Pokemon is going to one-shot our Deoxys, as base 95 power Surf is easily able to do that enough damage to do us in. I rare Candy up, but it's not going to be enough, obviously, as Lapras ends up getting the KO on us. I do come in here and eventually start selling all my items, try to get to 80,000 Pokédollars, doing the same strat as I did for Jirachi. Now, unfortunately, we actually barely cut it here. They had a lot of losses trying to do blackout training in this run. Thankfully, after selling most of our TMs, we get to 80,000 Pokédollars, getting us 4,000 coins, and purchasing TM24 Thunderbolt. Now, coming off base 180 special attack, 90 base power, super effective Thunderbolt should do more than enough damage into Lorelei's water types. Thunderbolt gets the one-shot on Dugong, as next up comes Lapras. Can we get the one-shot on the bulky water type? We can. And the rest of this fight should be smooth sailing. Cloyster likes to go for Protect. Thankfully, it didn't this time, so he just one-shot it without wasting power points. The bulky Slowbro goes down in one hit, and the physically frail Jinx goes down in one single return, getting us a much easier victory over Lorelei. Since I used all my rare candies, we're at our final level here, but much like Jirachi, Deoxys has no problems here with either Bruno or Agatha. As you can see, we just go for a series of one-hits. Goodbye Gengar, goodbye Golbat, goodbye Arbok, goodbye second Gengar, and goodbye Haunter. And without further ado, it's time to take on the Dragon and Flying type trainer, that being Lance. It seems like in most Kanto runs, Lorelei and Lance are like the real members of the Elite Four, and Bruno and Agatha are kind of like the break, unless you don't have a good attack into Ghost types. More of a problem in Generation 1. I accidentally misclick on Gyarados there, so that's the end of that particular fight, giving us our 15th reset. Now let's see what happens if we don't misclick. Gyarados goes down in one hit, which brings an Aerodactyl, who also goes down in one hit. Pretty smooth sailing thus far. Without an Ice move, Dragonite comes in. We don't really have a reliable way to one-shot it without a critical hit. I go for Thunderbolt, hoping for Paralysis, but as you can see, Outrage gets the one-shot. And with base 20 special defense, like I said, unless we get a critical hit with Psychic, we are not going to be able to do this. I take the Blackout, run through the Elite Four again, and try at level 62. Unfortunately, we still can't survive an Outrage or get the one-shot, so I eventually run through the Elite Four again, try at level 64. We still go down in one hit. But while I was running through the Elite Four those 2 times, I thought of an alternative strategy. While I thought our horrible defenses would make setting up with Calm Mind completely impossible, Lance's Gyarados loves to use Dragon Rage and like Leer over and over again, which would be completely useless into our Deoxys, because Dragon Rage just fixed damage, and obviously we're not surviving a hit with or without Leer. Obviously, if at +0 we got one-shots, we will at +1, and the moment of truth here comes against Lance's Dragonite. Will we one-shot it with +1 Psychic? And the answer is yes. Obviously, if we outspend and one-shot Dragonite, both Dragonairs will follow suit, and at level 65, with an hour and 28 minutes on the clock, It is time for the ultimate fight, Red versus Green, the champion battle here in Indigo Plateau. And let's see what time Deoxys can clock in with. It's already 10 minutes behind Jirachi without having to run through the league an extra few times. A critical hit Thunderbolt one-shots his Pidgeot as Arcanine comes in. But Arcanine has access to extreme speed, and I'm not sure if I'm able to one-shot it. Thankfully, I am as Blastoise comes in. But with super effective Bite, if we don't get the one-shot, things could get a little bit dicey. Thankfully, we do as Alakazam comes in. Return does not get the one-shot, and a critical hit Psychic and Retaliation does, giving us reset number 19. Pidgeot appears to be a one-shot regardless of the critical hit or not. But let's see if Arcanine was a range or not. We go for Psychic, and it was a range, meaning Flamethrower nearly gets the KO. Green goes for a full restore, and I can try to go for a return and Psychic combo, but Extreme Speed polishes us off. I set up Calm Mind on the Pidgeot as it goes for Sand Attack, making this fight a lottery, much like Jirachi was. But I think this is probably our easiest path to victory. It'll guarantee one-hits on Arcanine and also Alakazam. Blastoise was not a range before, and thankfully it was not here as we don't miss. Alakazam comes in. This is the one we can probably afford to miss on. Thankfully we don't as Rhydon comes in. We once again don't miss. We're 5 for 5 on attacks. We need 2 into the Executor, though. Will we be able to do it? We hit Psychic, leaves it in the red, but it gambles on a 75% accurate Sleep Power and hits it. I can't really be mad because we hit so many, like, 75% accurate attacks with -2 accuracy in this run. We go for Psychic. We're not doing enough with Light Screen up, and we get reset number 21 after a strong physical Egg Bomb connects. I set up Calm Mind here on the Pidgeot. We get the -1 accuracy once again, leaving the fight up into the hands of RNG once again. Arcanine comes in. We hit a Psychic. Thankfully, we're 2 for 2 on attacks thus far. We're over an hour and 30 minutes already, which is kind of unfortunate. Blastoise, we hit Thunderbolt. Alakazam comes in. We go for Thunderbolt. We miss, but we can tank Psychic Summit as we resist it. We actually missed 2 Thunderbolts, leaving us with 43 HP, and after a third misses, a Psychic polishes us off, giving us reset number 22. I would love if Pidgeot would just go for Feather Dance, which would make this fight completely free. But it goes for Sand Attack once again, dropping our accuracy down low. We're 2 for 2 on attacks, though. We take out both Pidgeot and Arcanine. Blastoise makes it 3 for 3. All right, things are looking good. In comes Alakazam. Gotta hit this Thunderbolt. We do. Make that 4 for 4. In comes Rhydon. Gotta hit that Psychic. We do. 5 for 5. And we have to just hit 2 more attacks into Executor while hopefully dodging a Sleep Powder. Psychic does huge damage. We get hit with Sleep Powder. He heals up with a full restore. We're still asleep. We wake up, go for Psychic. Egg Bomb connects. Go for Return. We do hit it. We've had a lot of attacks in this run, and we hit our final Psychic as Deoxys clocks in with 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 39 seconds, completing this versus video, with Jirachi being the clear victor. Now, in competitive Pokemon, I think Deoxys is actually a lot better than Jirachi, as min-max stats tend to benefit you a lot in a metagame where you can, like, switch out and customize your moveset, you know, for every specific fight. But in a solo run, Jirachi's balanced stats and better typing overall makes it the far better solo Pokemon. This whole concept as a whole was, like, stupidly fun to do. I really love doing versus videos, and having the real-time counter in the top left corner makes things a lot more suspenseful. When you're just, you know, mashing through Nugget Bridge, seeing that timer goes up is, like, super stressful, and it's really fun to see where you are at the run with different Pokemon. Now, for full disclosure, I did do Jirachi first because I thought it was going to be better, and I was right, and even armed with the knowledge from Jirachi, Deoxys just wasn't able to compete. Being unable to, like, really do a whole lot of anything without getting one shot is kind of fun, but also kind of stupid at the same time. If you got confused, it was just over as you'd hit yourself and you do, like, 75% damage, I mean, to yourself with each subsequent hit and confusion. Like, it was a really stupid run, but it was also really fun, and I'm glad I did it. I think Deoxys' defense in Leaf Green would be a lot more boring, but also be a lot more consistent, as you'd be tanking tons of attacks. And I don't know if it has 20 base attack or not. If it has 20 base attack, that could actually be really annoying. If you'd like to see me do that, though, leave it below in the comments, and I'll definitely consider it. And if you guys like these videos, I would love to do more Pokemon Fire Red versus videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in whatever comes next. Goodbye.